I received an unexpected package in the mail containing a USB drive with encrypted files and a note say, "You'll know what to do with this." I'm not sure why I'm even writing this. Maybe because I can't sleep, or maybe because if I say it out loud, it'll sound as weird as it feels in my head. Anyway, something strange happened last week. It was after one of those PTA meetings that seemed designed to make parents feel both guilty and powerless at the same time. My son Eli goes to this middle school that prides itself on being community-driven, which basically means every issue turns into a polite knife fight over who's raising their kids right. That night was about student conduct and accountability. I remember zoning out halfway through some slideshow about digital citizenship, thinking about what to make for dinner. By the time we got to parent collaboration strategies, I was already checking the clock. When the meeting ended, I saw my ex, Rachel, waiting near the door. She smiled, that tight smile she uses when she's about to say something that'll sting but sound responsible. "Tom, we should talk about Eli's behavior reports," she said, like we were business partners and our kid was a faulty product. "Behavior reports?" I asked. She shrugged. "He's been moody. Some teachers mentioned he's been talking back. I don't want it to become a pattern." I laughed, maybe too loudly. "He's 12. Talking back is his love language." She didn't laugh. She never does anymore. She just sighed and said, "You can joke, but if you'd enforce some boundaries." "Rachel," I cut in, "he gets enough boundaries at your place. Maybe he needs a parent who listens instead of lectures." She gave me that look, half pity, half exasperation, and said, "You always think you're the fun parent, but that's not the same as being the good one." Then she walked off before I could come up with anything better than, "Thanks for the feedback." I drove home feeling like I'd been graded again. That's how it always feels with her, like I'm failing some invisible parenting test. By the time I got home, it was after 9. Eli was already in bed, headphones on, watching something on his tablet. I didn't want another screen time argument, so I just said goodnight and left him to it. Then I noticed the envelope. It was lying on the kitchen counter, half buried under some grocery flyers. No return address, just my name, handwritten in block letters. The kind of handwriting that's too neat to be casual. I opened it without thinking. Inside was a small black USB drive and a single note, typed, like from an old typewriter. It said, "You'll know what to do with this." That's it. No sender, no explanation. I actually laughed out loud. It felt like a bad movie setup, like, what next? Do I plug it in and unleash some government conspiracy? Still, I'm not proud of this, but curiosity is kind of my default setting. I just stood there holding it for a while, trying to figure out if this was a prank. Maybe from Eli? But no, he wouldn't go through the trouble of mailing something. I tossed it on the counter, made a sandwich, and tried to forget about it. But even while eating, I kept glancing at it, that little black rectangle just sitting there like a dare. At some point, I found myself in front of my laptop. I hesitated. Every "don't plug in strange USBs" PSA I've ever heard started screaming in my head. But the note, "You'll know what to do with this," felt weirdly personal, like someone knew I'd overthink it. So yeah, I did it. I plugged it in. The drive popped up instantly. No viruses, no self-destruct countdown. Just a folder called School Docs. When I opened it, everything inside was encrypted. File names like Staff Review Confidential and Incident Report A2, all with weird extensions. That's when I started to feel off, like someone was watching. I thought maybe it was just my imagination, but I swear, even the kitchen felt different, like quieter, heavier. I sat there staring at the screen, wondering what kind of idiot would send me encrypted school files. I even checked if it was some kind of phishing thing, but there was no network activity. Just local files. Whoever sent this wanted me to see it. The note said, "You'll know what to do with this." But I didn't. For a while I just sat there, turning the USB over in my fingers. The plastic felt warm, probably from the laptop, but it made me uneasy. I closed the laptop and told myself I'd deal with it later. But later, I found myself Googling how to open encrypted files. I'm not tech-savvy, but curiosity has a way of turning into obsession. I found a few password cracking tools, downloaded one, and just started trying combinations. The usual stuff, admin password 12345, nothing. Then around midnight, I remembered something from the PTA slides earlier, the school mascot, some cartoon falcon named Freddy. I tried Freddy 2025. The folder opened. I froze. I didn't even click anything for a good minute. Inside were emails, hundreds of them, all with the school's domain. Subject lines like "Student Issue, Eli Thompson," "Disciplinary Action Discussion." I should have stopped there, closed it, called someone. But once you start peeling back the curtain, you can't stop. I clicked the first one. It was from a teacher I knew, Mrs. Kirkland. She'd always seemed kind, patient. But in the email she wrote, "We need to discuss the ongoing issue with Eli Thompson. His attitude is becoming disruptive. We may need to consider a transfer before it escalates." Transfer? What the hell did that mean? Another email, same thread. Agreed. Let's loop in administration quietly. No reason to alarm the father just yet. I felt my stomach drop. The father. Me. They were talking about my kid like he was some administrative nuisance. And somewhere in the back of my mind, one thought kept echoing. Who sent me this, and why? I didn't sleep that night. I told myself I was just making sure Eli's okay, but really, I was spiraling. I kept rereading the same few lines of those emails until they blurred together. Ongoing issue. Transfer quietly. Don't alarm the father. By 2 a.m., I was pacing the kitchen, the laptop's glow cutting across the dark like a secret I couldn't turn off. I must have read 20 emails. Some were harmless, meeting notes, teacher observations. But others, they got personal. They talked about Eli like he was a liability. Words like volatile, uncooperative, defensive. Volatile? He's 12. He cries during Pixar movies. He still sleeps with the light on when he stays here. The more I read, the angrier I got. Not just at the teachers, but at myself. How did I miss this? How could something like this be happening under my nose? By morning, I'd convinced myself I needed answers. I dropped Eli off at school, pretending everything was normal. He was humming some dumb pop song, trying to get me to guess what it was. I mumbled something about needing more coffee, and he just shrugged. He's used to my half-awake mornings. The second he was out of the car, I called Rachel. "Did you know anything about this?" I asked before she could even say hello. "About what?" she said, that tone she uses when she's already annoyed. "The school, the emails, them talking about transferring Eli." There was silence. Then, carefully, she said, "What emails?" I told her, "Not everything, just enough." She denied knowing anything, said I was overreacting. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, but there was a pause, a long one. Then she said, "Tom, maybe we should talk in person." That's when I knew she was lying. Rachel only wants to talk in person when there's something she doesn't want on record. We met that evening in a coffee shop halfway between our apartments, the kind of neutral ground divorced people pick like it's a war negotiation. I showed her the printouts. Yeah, I printed them. I don't know why. Maybe because holding them made it feel more real. She looked pale. "Where did you get these?" "They came in the mail, on a USB. Her eyes darted to the side. "Who sent it?" "I don't know. But you tell me, Rachel. Why is your name on this?" She looked at the paper like it might bite her. Then she said softly, "That's my old school account. I haven't worked there in months. Maybe someone Don't," I said. "Don't play dumb." She rubbed her temples. "You don't understand how schools work. There are procedures." "Procedures? For lying to parents." Her voice cracked. "For protecting kids. For keeping them where they belong." That stopped me cold. "What does that mean?" She looked at me, eyes glassy. "You think you're helping Eli, but you're not. He's acting out. The teachers are worried. He needs structure. And when he's with you, he doesn't get it." I laughed bitterly. "So what, your solution is to get him kicked out?" "Transferred," she said. "Not expelled. Transferred to a program that can actually help him." "Help him?" I said. "Or help you feel better about not being around." That ended it. She grabbed her purse and left. I sat there, watching her walk out, heart hammering. Everyone in the cafe pretended not to stare. When I got home, Eli was on the couch, half asleep with a video game controller on his chest. He looked so small. I stood there a long time just watching him breathe. Who sends encrypted school files to a parent? Who knew I'd open them? I went back to the laptop. I needed to know everything. There were more folders: administrative, behavioral, private. I opened them one by one. Most were empty or full of gibberish code. But one was named Confidential Consequences. Inside, just a single text file. The name was readmefinal.txt. I clicked it. It said, "If you leak this, he loses his place permanently." That's it. No greeting, no signature. Just that one line. I sat back in my chair. My mouth went dry. It wasn't just about privacy anymore. It was a threat. I didn't know who it was from, but it was clear someone knew I'd seen too much. And they were warning me. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about that line. He loses his place permanently. It felt like more than just a school warning. It felt like a trap. I started imagining all these possibilities. What if this was some setup to make me look unstable? What if Rachel was in on it? What if the school wanted to paint me as some overreacting dad who couldn't handle the truth? I kept looping through the same thoughts. If I say nothing, Eli gets punished quietly. If I say something, they'll make sure he's punished publicly. The next morning, Eli asked me if I was okay. I told him I just had a headache. He nodded, but I could tell he didn't believe me. He said, "Mom called last night. You two fighting again?" I didn't answer right away. "Just talking," I said finally. He shrugged and looked away. "It's okay. I know you guys fight about me." I froze. "What makes you say that?" He just shrugged again, staring at his cereal. "You don't have to pretend. I hear things." I didn't know what to say. After he left for school, I sat at the kitchen table staring at the USB drive again. I kept thinking about the note. You'll know what to do with this. I thought I did. But now, I'm not sure. I thought the problem was the school, or Rachel, or some faceless administrator pulling strings. But the more I think about it, the more it feels like something else entirely. Like whoever sent this wanted to push me into a corner, to make me react. And it's working. Tomorrow, there's another PTA meeting. I don't plan on sitting quietly this time. I didn't even plan what I was going to say. I woke up that morning wired, like I'd been running a marathon in my sleep. My head hurt, my stomach was tight, and I felt this pressure behind my ribs, like I was full of electricity but couldn't ground it anywhere. The USB drive sat next to my keys on the counter. Every time I looked at it, it felt heavier. I told myself I'd bring it to the PTA meeting, not to cause trouble, just to ask questions. That's how it always starts, right? You convince yourself you're being calm and reasonable right up until you're not. When I dropped Eli off at school, he could tell something was off. "You're gripping the steering wheel too tight," he said. I laughed. "How do you even notice that?" He shrugged. "You only do it when you're mad." I wanted to tell him everything, about the files, the emails, the threat. But how do you explain something like that to a kid? How do you tell him the adults who are supposed to protect him are playing chess with his life? So I just said, "Don't worry about it, bud. I've got it handled." He gave me this skeptical little smirk, the one that makes him look way older than 12, and said, "That's what Mom says, too." That stung more than it should have. The meeting started in the school library. One of those well-lit too-clean rooms that smells like disinfectant and nervous sweat. Parents murmured in clusters, sipping coffee from paper cups. Rachel was there, of course. She wouldn't look at me. The principal, Ms. Lynn, started talking about transparency initiatives and student well-being metrics. It all sounded like static. I couldn't stop thinking about those emails, those lines about quietly transferring my son like he was a clerical error. And then I snapped. I don't remember the exact moment it happened. One second I was sitting there pretending to listen. The next I was on my feet, holding the USB in my hand like a weapon. "I need everyone to hear something," I said. The room went still. I don't yell often, but when I do, my voice carries, the kind that makes people listen even if they don't want to. I told them someone had sent me this USB, that it contained encrypted school documents, emails between staff, about expelling my son, about keeping me out of the loop. There were gasps, murmurs, the sound of coffee cups hitting tables. Rachel whispered my name like a warning. "Tom, stop." But I didn't. I pulled out my laptop, slammed it open, and said, "You want transparency? Let's have it." Before I could click anything, Ms. Lynn stood up, face pale. "Mr. Thompson, please, this isn't appropriate. Whatever you think you have, there's a process." "Yeah?" I said. Was there a process for threatening my kid? For keeping his father in the dark? And then I heard it. "Dad, stop!" Eli's voice. I turned. He was standing in the doorway, out of breath, wearing his oversized hoodie and the same sneakers he refuses to untie. "What are you doing here?" I asked. I came to get you," he said, voice cracking. "Mom texted me. Said you were gonna make a scene." He looked scared. Not of them, of me. Something inside me twisted. "Eli," I said, softer, "it's okay. You don't have to worry. I'm fixing this." He shook his head, tears pooling. "You don't get it. You're not fixing anything." The whole room was watching now, parents, teachers, Rachel frozen halfway between anger and fear. And then he said it. "I sent it." The words hung in the air like smoke. "What?" I said, blinking. "The USB, the files. I made them." His voice broke halfway through. "I used Mom's old login. I found her old emails from when she worked here. I wanted you to see them." My brain couldn't catch up. "You what?" "Eli, why would you—" He looked at me like I was missing something obvious. "Because you never talk. You and Mom only text about schedules. I thought if you both had something big to deal with, you'd talk again. Maybe even be in the same room without hating each other." It felt like the floor dropped out from under me. All the anger, the fear, the late nights staring at that blinking USB light. It all suddenly looked ridiculous. A whole conspiracy theory built out of a kid's wish for peace. Rachel was crying now. So was I, though I didn't realize it until I tasted salt. Ms. Lynn stepped forward, calm but shaken. "Eli, Is this true? He nodded, sniffling. I didn't mean for it to get this far. I just copied some drafts from Mom's old email. I made them sound real. I thought if Dad found them, he'd freak out and call her, and they'd actually talk for once. You could have heard a pin drop. I didn't know what to do. My body went cold, like all the fight had drained out of me. I turned to him and said, "You scared the hell out of me." He started crying harder. "I'm sorry. I just wanted things to be normal again." Rachel stepped closer and put a hand on his shoulder, but he flinched away. "You both just stop trying," he said. "You act like I'm the problem, but you're the ones who broke everything." That hit like a punch. For a second, no one spoke. Then Ms. Lynn cleared her throat gently. "I think we all need a moment." We ended up sitting in her office afterward. Just me, Rachel, and Eli. No one said much. The USB was still on the desk between us, the tiny piece of plastic that almost tore us apart. Finally, Rachel said, "We really did do this to him, didn't we?" I nodded. "Yeah, I think we did." I looked at Eli. I should have been listening instead of assuming everyone was against us. He wiped his eyes with his sleeve. "So, are you mad?" I smiled weakly. "A little, but not at you." Then I reached over, picked up the USB, and slid it into my laptop. For a second, everyone tensed, thinking I was about to open it again. Instead, I right-clicked and hit Format Drive. When the progress bar filled, I ejected it and tossed it in the trash. Rachel exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for months. Eli looked confused. "Why'd you delete it?" "Because," I said quietly, "the files were never the problem." Then I pulled him into a hug. He resisted for half a second, then melted into it. I felt his heartbeat against my chest. I whispered, "We'll talk, okay? All of us. No more secrets." He nodded into my shoulder. The principal walked us out later, saying something about counseling resources and family mediation. I barely heard her. Outside, the evening light was soft and gold, and for the first time in a long time, we were all walking in the same direction. It's been 4 days since the meeting. The house is quiet again, but it's a different kind of quiet now. Not that heavy, suffocating silence that comes from people avoiding each other. More like the quiet of a deep breath after a storm. Shaky, but clean. Eli's in his room, drawing. He's always been good at that, sketching things he can't say out loud. When he was little, he'd draw monsters whenever he felt scared. Lately, he's been drawing people again. I saw one on the fridge this morning, just 3 stick figures, holding hands. One of them had my old gray hoodie. That one got me. I've been trying to make sense of everything that happened, replaying it in my head like a movie that keeps changing endings. Part of me still can't believe how close I came to blowing everything up. When I think about the look on Eli's face, that mixture of fear and guilt and hope, I realize how much I wasn't seeing him. I thought I was protecting him from the school, from Rachel, from the world, but really I was just using those things to avoid facing how broken we'd become. It's weird. You spend so much time trying to prove you're the good parent that you forget being good isn't the same as being present. Rachel came over yesterday, not for a fight this time, just coffee. She stood awkwardly in the doorway, holding a grocery bag like a peace offering. "I brought the cinnamon muffins he likes," she said. We didn't say much at first. We just sat at the kitchen table, the same one where I'd opened that stupid envelope. The light was softer this time. Finally, she said, "I keep thinking about what he said, how we stopped trying." I nodded. "He's right. We've been parenting by calendar invites." She gave a small, tired smile. "I guess we both thought we were doing our best." "Yeah," I said, "but maybe our best needs to change." There was a long pause, not tense, just quiet. For once, it didn't feel like we were waiting for the other person to slip up. It felt like a truce. Eli came in halfway through, still in his pajamas. He froze when he saw both of us there. "Are you guys talking?" Rachel laughed a little. "Trying to." He grinned. Weird. Then he sat down with us. We didn't talk about the USB or the meeting or any of it. We talked about his new science project instead. It was the most normal 15 minutes we've had in years. Later that night, after Rachel left, I went through my desk drawer and found the envelope again, the original one, with the note inside. I don't even know why I kept it. Maybe because it started all this. I unfolded the note. The words were as blunt as ever. "You'll know what to do with this." I must have read that line 100 times by now. At first, I thought it meant I was supposed to expose something. Then I thought it was a threat. Then a warning. But now I think it was a test. Not from the school. Not from Rachel. Maybe not even from Eli, though he set the whole chain reaction in motion. Maybe it was from life itself. That quiet moment when something lands in your hands and you're forced to decide whether you'll keep fighting ghosts or finally face the living. And in the end, I did know what to do. I just didn't realize it until it was almost too late. I formatted the USB again last night just to be sure, completely wiped this time. Watching that progress bar crawl to 100% felt like closing a chapter. After that, I went into Eli's room. He was asleep, sprawled sideways across the bed like he always does, the blanket halfway on the floor. His tablet was still glowing faintly on the nightstand. On the screen was a drawing app he'd been working on something before he fell asleep. It was a sketch of a man and a boy sitting on a bench, looking at a lake. You couldn't see their faces, but you could tell they were talking. I don't know why, but that image hit me harder than anything else. I turned off the tablet and just sat there for a while, watching him breathe. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a failure. Just a dad trying again. This morning I woke up before him and made breakfast pancakes, even though he always complains I burn them. When he came out of his room, hair a mess, rubbing his eyes, I said, "Hey, want to go for a walk after school?" "Just us?" He blinked, surprised. "Like, just to walk?" "Yeah," I said. "To talk, maybe. No screens, no schedules." He smiled. "Okay, but can we get ice cream too?" "Deal." It's such a small thing, just a walk. But I think that's the point. Big moments don't fix what's broken. It's the small ones that do. The quiet mornings, the burnt pancakes, the conversations that don't go perfectly but still happen. That's how you rebuild something. Not with confessions or evidence or proof, but with time. I still don't know who sent the envelope. Maybe Eli mailed it to make it look more mysterious. Maybe he just left it in the mailbox. I could ask, but I think I'd rather not know. Some mysteries don't need solving. Some just need forgiving. I folded the note one last time and tucked it in my wallet. Not as a reminder of the mess, but of what came out of it, because whoever sent it was right. I did know what to do with it. I just didn't know that what needed fixing wasn't the school, or the system, or anyone else. It was us.